Welcome back everybody. This is part 3 of our PI tutorial. In the last video I explained a lot about the extraction control unit. In this video I'll show you what to do with it. Now I am going to be producing mechanical parts on this planet, so I need both base metal and noble metals. I already have base metal covered, so let's go on and scan for some noble metals. Again, just like with the last extraction control unit, I'm going to place this one someplace where I can get the most amount of material in the smallest amount of area. So I think maybe right here will be good. Let's go ahead and place it down and submit. Now, just like with the other, I'm going to go to Survey for Deposits, turn on Noble Metals, and I already know what sort of time frame I want my program to be. I'm going with 4 days and 3 hours. So let's fiddle around a little bit with the extraction size. 6 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. Now what you haven't seen is I actually added 2 more extraction heads to the other control unit, and I want to match that with this extractor. The reason why I want to match it is because I want equal amounts of material going into my colony. So I want to make sure that whatever amount of materials I bring in are relatively the same. And there we go. Now you can find out your average amount of materials being brought into your colony through the length of the entire program by looking at the bottom right of your extraction control screen. And this, I'm at the very bottom right, it says program output per hour and total units. I'm pulling around 11,000 units per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and install this program. Submit. I have absolutely no idea why my planet rotated all the way around, but that's okay. And I'm going to go to the base metals, and I want to survey for deposits, bring up the screen. Now, there's a problem. And the problem is I have only 7,000 units per hour coming out here. Now, this is per hour through the entire amount of time my program goes. So there are going to be some hours where I'm going to be getting a lot more than that, and a lot of hours I'm going to be getting a lot less. So I want to remedy that. So I'm going to actually stop this program. And I'm going to move around some of these extractor heads until I get around 11,000 units per hour. And that does it right there. Going to install the new program and submit it. So now both my extraction heads or extraction control units are producing just about the same amount of material, but what's going to happen to that material? Well, you need a place to put all these units. Now you could technically go from your extraction heads to a processor. You don't want to do that because it's just going to be waste. The start of every program gets you the most materials almost always. So you want a place to store the excess. So we're going to place down a storage unit. And just pick a random place somewhat close by your extraction control unit. Maybe right here. And submit. Now, in order to move materials between your buildings on your planet, you need to create a planetary link. You do not need links to power a building. I could place any building anywhere on this world and it will be powered. So you do not need to establish a link to your command center. But anytime you're moving materials, there has to be a link. So we're going to go ahead and create one link between the extraction control unit and the storage facility. So I'm going to click and drag and submit. Now I have a link between these two buildings. I'm going to zoom in for you so you can sort of see it. It's really hard to see. So let's turn off the scan because we already know where we're at, what kind of materials we're drawing. Now if you look very carefully, there is a link. I've hovered over it with my cursor and you can see that there is 0% usage on this link. That's because nothing's been moved, nothing's being routed. So that's the second thing you must do after you establish a link. You have to route materials. Now, the easiest way to do that is to select the storage and create route. And you'll notice that you'll have no incomings or outgoing routes. Now, you can do this for almost every building, but in order for it to in order for you to see anything in the screen, something has to be going to it already. So we're going to go ahead and close it. Select on the extraction and create a route here. Nothing going on here because nothing's coming into it. Everything in this colony right now is completely barren. Nothing's moving. So we're going to go to products. There we go. Now we have base metals showing up. I'm going to select on base metals and I'm going to create a route. And I'm going to select my destination and then click create route. And we're going to submit. Now let me show you that screen again. But now we're going to select routes. Now base metals are showing up. Let's go ahead and select. And open up the storage unit. Select routes again. There they are. It's incoming. Whereas on the extraction control unit, it said it was outgoing. That's how you can keep track of what's being moved through your colony. Now another thing to point out is a link only allows so much materials to move. So right now my link right now is at 26% capacity. But I know right off the bat that there are going to be some cycles of my extraction head that's going to be pushing that limit. And if you have materials coming from an extraction unit that surpasses the amount of materials you can move through that link, it will be wasted. It will just be as if it doesn't exist. So you want to make sure that your links from extraction units to storage units are upgraded. To do that, you just select the link, select upgrade link, and upgrade. And do it one more time because I like to have a fairly upgraded system. And submit. So now let's hover over that link. Now only 6% of this link is being used, its capacity being used. So I think I'm feeling pretty safe with it. So while that's running, I need another storage unit for this extraction control unit. But for this one, I'm going to save some of my CPU. You see, and power. I'm going to have to eventually transport my materials off this world. And you can do that two ways. You can either fire them off from your command center, and that is extremely time consuming and wasteful. It can launch a rocket every so often, and there's only so much material you can throw in that rocket. But the plus side is, if you do it that way, you do not need to worry about the player-owned custom office. In this system, we have a pretty good player-owned custom office, so I want a spaceport. And a spaceport can actually double up as a storage unit. So I'm going to go, since I already know I'm going to need one, I'm going to go ahead and place one down. And I'm going to have it serve as a secondary storage unit for my materials coming in from noble metals. So let me submit and create a link. There we go. Submit. Now, while I'm here, I might as well just go ahead and upgrade it because I know I'll need to. It also makes a good habit every time you do something to go ahead and submit. Um, Sometimes you can get pretty busy in creating your colony and forget to submit, and then you leave your planet, and then you realize everything you've done is just been erased. It's a pain in the ass. Now, I also got to create a route. So we're going to go to products, select our noble metals, create route, and select the spaceport. And create route, and then submit. PI is a click fest, to be honest. You'll be doing a lot of selecting, submitting, clicking, upgrading. It's just click, 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 click. So don't feel annoyed or anything about it, because once you develop a colony and it's good, you don't need to change it anymore after that. That's the end of the process. The biggest pain in the ass about PI is creating your colonies in the first place. So now, after each of these extraction control units go through an entire cycle, they will store materials in both my storage unit and my spaceport. Next video, I'm going to explain more about processors and advanced processors and how to get your materials off world. So I'll see you then.